Hey everybody, Jem Schofield here and welcome to the Canon EOS C100 video tutorial series. In this video I'm going to be talking about how to build up the Canon EOS C100. One of the things that you'll notice is that it's incredibly small, very compact. It's definitely an evolution from the DSLR cameras, but it also borrows very heavily from the Cinema EOS line. In fact, this camera system has the same sensor as the Canon EOS C300 and the Canon EOS C500. A great compact camera system, great for single operators, and the first thing we want to do when we build this camera system up is we want to put this thing on here, which is called the grip unit. Now what we do is we just go ahead and take this and we attach it to the side of the camera. We want to make sure we have a completely positive connection, push that all the way in, and then it's fully adjustable here in different positions, and once it's fully in position you can pick it up and you'll see how easy it is to hold the camera system. Got that grip unit there, your left hand is going to just naturally fall underneath the camera. And this thing has a few different functions. You can see here that it's got a start, stop, record button here. There's a dial here, which you're going to use to change aperture. And then if I turn this over here onto the back, we have a joystick for navigating our menu systems, and then an assignable button, which by default is for magnification. So now that we've done that, what we need to do is we need to get a battery in this thing. So we'll just go ahead and pop a battery into the camera. We'll get a lens on here. So we'll just take the body cap off. This is the 40mm STM lens. It's an EF lens, so it'll have a red mark on it. So when we take that and we attach it to the camera, we just want to make sure that we line up that red mark with the red mark on the camera body. Clockwise turn, and then we've got that attached to the camera. Now once you have that on here, we don't have a built-in microphone here. We have to have an audio input. So what I would suggest is if you want to keep in the smallest configuration, we can take a mic like this. This is the Rode VideoMic Pro, and we can just put that right onto the hot shoe. And then on the side of the camera here, we have a microphone terminal, which has a little mini jack. I'm just going to go ahead and insert that mic in there. And this is a very small configuration when you're using the camera. Now what we want to do is we'll take this microphone off and we're going to talk about the handle unit. Okay, so I've attached the 17-55 EFS lens, and we're now going to take this, which is called the handle unit, and attach it to the camera. And what we're going to do is just attach that the same way we did that little VideoMic Pro to the hot shoe, but it actually has a 1/4-20 screw on here, and we can just tighten that down. So we get a very tight connection, and then we take this cable to the external terminal on the side of the camera. We're going to line up those two arrows and push it in, and when we hear that click we have a positive connection. And then let me just show you a couple of things about the handle unit. On the top here we have a 1/4-20 female thread, so that's a mounting point. We have another shoe here, so that's another mounting point. We have start, stop, record. And then over here we can actually attach a shotgun mic, which we'll do right now. So I'll just unscrew this. Okay, open that up. Got a shotgun mic here, so we'll attach that. Okay, great. And then you'll see on the side of this unit here we have a channel 1 input for an XLR and a channel 2. We'll take this shotgun mic and we'll attach it to channel 1. And then maybe in a standard configuration we'd have a shotgun in channel 1, and then we'd have a lavalier in channel 2. So we'll just go ahead and open up the protective cover for the audio controls, and you'll see here they are. We see an A over here for channel 1 and an A for channel 2. That's for automatic gain control. If we want to manually control the microphone, then what we can do is we can change this from A for automatic gain control to M for manual. And now when we want to actually control our levels for this, if we just go ahead and rotate the handle unit, you can see here are our levels, and we can control them now with the dial. That dial will have no effect at all if you're on A for automatic gain control. So make sure you're on M if you need that. And also depending on the type of microphone that you have. If you're using the external microphone, the first thing you'll want to do here at the bottom is you want to switch it from internal to external. If it is on internal, it's going to be using the built-in stereo mic, which is part of the handle unit. If it's on external, it will be capturing the audio from the XLR input. I'm still on internal on channel 2, so at the moment I'm going to be recording audio from the stereo mic on channel 2, and from the shotgun mic on channel 1. Last thing to take a look at here is, depending on your input, if you have line level, which is used for certain types of inputs, you would put it on line. For microphones like lavalier systems, wireless lavs, you would have it on just mic. But if you do have a microphone that needs external power, then you would switch it to 48 volts. Okay, so great. Now we're going to close the protective cover here, which is going to protect the dials and all of those things so you don't bump them when you're shooting. If we now turn the camera system around, we're still in a very compact configuration here. If I turn on the camera system right over here, and you can see that on the side of the camera that we have the camera position on. We can even lock it if we want to. And then I can just open up that LCD screen and position it in a bunch of different ways. This articulating screen is very versatile for different shooting styles and positions. And of course, if you have an image stabilized lens, you can turn that on and it will make shooting handheld really, really easy. So a great, great way to build up the camera. And then what we can do is we can take a look at some of these external ports here on the camera system. So let me just go ahead and turn this off and we'll take a look at these right now. Okay, so we've built up this camera a little bit differently now, and we're going to talk about the terminals on the back of the EOS C100. We've got a headphone terminal here. We've got a remote terminal for third-party remote solutions. We'll just flip this up here, and we've got a USB terminal, and we have an HDMI out terminal, and then down here we have the DC in terminal. Okay, so we've got a full HDMI out giving us an 8-bit uncompressed 422 signal. How do we use this with the camera system? We've got a full HDMI to full HDMI cable here. I'm going to plug that into the camera. We'll turn this on. I'm going to turn on an external monitor here, and I'm just going to go ahead and plug that in, and we'll see that we'll get a picture that will come up in a second on there. And this is a pretty typical configuration when you're shooting with the camera. So you can see here that we now have picture being pushed to here. But another way that we can use that, and let me just go ahead and turn off this monitor, is we can use an external recorder. This is the AJA Key Pro Mini, and this is the Atomos Ninja 2. Both of these recorders have HDMI inputs, and both of them will recognize the signal and can record from the EOS C100. And we'll actually be covering that in another video, but we basically just plug that in. And now we're using this full HDMI out to record externally, and in fact we can do it simultaneously to the internal SD cards and to a recorder like this. So as you can see, if we take a look at this camera system as a whole, even fully built out with a shotgun mic and a 7-inch monitor, it's still very, very small in terms of size. Very, very cool. So that's building your camera system. In the next video, we're going to talk about setting up the C100 for shooting.